Gundam.tk presents Gundam F90 Type A.D.S. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs Gundam Reviews.net, and today I'm here to take a look at the parts from the Gundam F90, which is from the manga, and you can see that there's a whole bunch of empty plates, including these multicolored ones with that interesting kind of injection. So don't forget to check out the earlier parts, but now let's take a look at all the individual pieces that are going to make up this old school mobile suit. For the main and admittedly very small body, here are all the parts, and you'll notice that it's quite colorful so far. And there are so many extra parts to make up the A, D, and S types. You'll also get the beam rifle and the distinctive 90 there on the shield. Not a dull moment here, and in terms of the secondary colors, I guess you could call this light gray the inner frame for the legs. So working our way up with the parts, you're going to have a bend there of about 75 degrees, let's say, and it's going to go forward, which doesn't seem to be useful at all. You're also going to have an old school polycap to attach that onto the hips. But down below, this is where it's very interesting because you've actually got the yellow and the red, which was part of the mold of the piece, which is very cool. That even back all this time ago that they could actually get multicolors into a part. When you add on the seals and the blue parts here, this is blue plastic, these are seals, this is gray seals. But overall, I've got to say that that's very colorful in a pleasing way. I put some black ink there just to bring out that yellow a little bit more, and this is going to be the hardpoint connectors. You can pop them off if you've got fingernails, or you can just use a modeler's knife when you start to attach on the weapon systems. The ankle is just attached to a gray polycap, if you can see it in there, so it's going to wiggle around in a circular motion, similar to what you'll get there for the hip. More gaudy colors here for the chest and waist section, and you can see that half of these are from plastic and half of these are going to be from seals, which are going to cause the problems. You can see that these should be folded down and attached on, and of course they're going to peel off, but then again when they actually pop forward, it's not going to look all that horrible. In terms of the actual plastic though, you're going to have again these multicolored parts molded in here, which is very cool. You've got yellow plastic, red plastic there, more yellow up there, but this gray part is going to go around and you'll notice that there's blue underneath, so the seal isn't a perfect fit unless you actually want that blue to be showing through. These grills are accomplished with seals, there's some black lining there, you're also going to have a gray part up there for the neck, and on the side you're even going to have, they have these ugly seam lines all over these old school kits. At least you're going to be covering it up there with a bit of a seal. You've also got a hardpoint attachment down here if you want to pop that off again with your nails or your modeler's knife so that you can start attaching the weapons packs and little triangle seals to go along with these gray and white ones down there, which are just going to add some color. You can also mount the weapons back here, including the bazooka, and over here you'll see that with the side pocket on, it's going to look like this, and pop it off here to start adding on more weapons packs. Old school arms up here, starting with a gray polycap on the inside, and you'll notice that you're going to get a rotation point there, so the shoulder is different, better than some of the other ones that came after this, where the only point was in the elbow that they could actually rotate. Up here though, you're going to have a gray seal around the end, so of course that's going to expose some white, and then you've got a yellow seal, which is going to only cover up part of the inside there. You can also pop off this shoulder, of course, that's going to be another hard point, and you can just, let me show you how that works. Most of these are just with polycaps, so they're a little bit snug, but that's a good thing so that you're not going to have parts popping off when you don't want them to. In terms of the bend of the elbow, I put a little bit of lining there, and you can bend it up. Yes, you're going to get less than 90, and whoa, it's going to go backwards if you want to dislocate his arm to no particular end. You can see here that the hand, this is fantastic, that you've got a white seal to make up what's now made out of plastic on almost every Gundam, including high grades. So that's going to peel up, of course, all the time, so you'll have to put that back down or add some extra glue to fix that up. The hand has no articulation whatsoever. It's just a hole there with these ugly little fingers. Some lining, though, can fix it up ever so slightly. And again, you're going to have the forearm-mounted weapons down here with just popping off this blue part. You're also going to get this third hand here, and of course the seals were up until I just pushed them back down there. And this is actually going to be made out of two pieces here. You can see that it's just going to pivot around there. Not very solid, but that's going to allow you to put the beam rifle inside. For the beam rifle, you're going to have an attachment point if you want to hook that on somewhere, and outside of that, you've got no points of articulation anywhere, but lots of lining opportunities, but the light gray is very non-Gundam-y, but it does match that pseudo inner frame. I'm going to say that the shield looks pretty good from a distance, and that's thanks to the seals, and yet then again that's also going to cause its own set of problems. First of all, you're going to have seals up here at the top. They don't wrap over the top, which is probably better for keeping them on. A small skinny one there in between, and a blue one down there. But what's sort of cool is that if you can make that out there, is that that's actually got holes in it. This isn't seals. It seems like it's done in black, depending on what's behind it, but that looks pretty sharp. These parts down here don't look as sharp because they've got round, where you see a round circle there, they've actually got a raised part. So you'd be better off painting that if you're a pro. Some black ink in there, and then the all-important 90. The red and the blue, this is all attached together as one sticker, and you can see here that there's an indentation if you want to go paint that, which would make your life easier. But unfortunately, it's going to make the seal look the worse for the wear, and you've got these little bubbles that are going to pop up because you've got this on a round surface. So it looks good from about here, you just don't really want to look at it up here. And onto the back, where you're going to have an incredibly dull white surfboard. This is probably one of the worst backs of a shield I've ever seen, and there have been some horrible ones going back to the 80s. Anyway, when you've got this gray attachment point on, it's going to move like this, and that is it in terms of articulation. For extra armaments, you'll also be getting 2 beam sabers, which are going to stick out protruding from the backpack, which is a good thing that you've got them because that really adds to the Gundam feel. But you're also going to be getting some clear blue parts, so it's a plus that they're going to give you the clear parts. Disappointing that these are probably the shortest 1/100th beam sabers that you've ever seen. They've got a sort of fat shape there in the middle, and the handles are going to be blue. These are going to fit in the hands, but poorly, so anyway, don't expect anything fancy in the beam saber duel department. Now the F90's head, I have to say, even from the side of the box painted by a pro, that it looks pretty awful. It's just too long, it looks like he's got a very dour face, so he's looking down on everybody disapprovingly. And I chose not to put in some lining there. You can put in more, but I figured that would just accentuate his long and gloomy chin. But anyway, black lining over here on the front, you've got good deep channels, and if you want to go with that, the eyes are going to look okay, and I've got some green paint up there, just to add in a little bit of color, because otherwise it's going to be very, very plain. Also, you can see that this part is actually made out of yellow plastic, which is good, and on the back I've got thick Dalong type lining, so if you want to fix up this head you can make it look better, but no way you can get past those seam lines and the old school and just you can tell that this was made before nice computer engineering software could really work out the flaws in designs like this. However, for this head, it is disappointing just how much work you've got to put onto it. It's pretty impressive that that red was actually attached to the face mask right out of the sprues per se. But when you've got this part with the V-fin, it's great that you've got the white and the yellow, but it's unfortunate that they don't. They give you a million seals for everything else, but they don't give you camera lenses, they don't give you the red, and you got to touch up the eyes. So if you really want to bring this alive and have it not look terrible, because the V-fin, let's face it, is going to be the most important part for any Gundam, and if your eyes are drawn to it and it was just white and yellow, yes, it's better to have 2 colors instead of 1, but you really need the 4 to bring this guy even into the decent looking territory, never mind good. I'll wrap up my look at the body parts there so far. Some of them are looking really good, but then again, you've got that poor articulation, generally cheap plastic feel all over the place and the over-reliance on seals, but on the other hand, you've got a colorful and bright model which may actually look good when it's put together despite its small size. Big disappointments though with some of the things, especially the details in the head. So again, a pro will have no problem fixing this up, but for lazy modelers like me, it's something that you're going to have to either choose to try to do something with, or just put up with the concept or with the results as is. Anyway, everybody, stay tuned because there are a lot of weapons to add on to this for the A.D.S. type, so stay tuned for that before it all gets put together, and I can't wait to see how this is all going to look armed up. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this old school kind of model, and of course the video itself. Always love to hear from you. Please hit like if you do, and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Just thinking out loud here, but from Crossbone Gundam, how many of the Steel 7 actually have models that you could buy, mod, and paint, and actually start recreating that team?